B4. Once again, you got two brackets. Now watch. You got A4. So write down A. And if you remember correctly, we said for powers, divide the index by 2. So this will become A squared. Write down the B. Divide the index by 2, you get B squared. So A squared plus B squared. Repeat A squared and B squared here. I repeat that. And the second bracket will be minus. Now, be careful. Watch carefully what's happening. Now, when you look here, this is fine. It's a sum of two squares, it cannot be factorized. But when you look here, it's another difference of two squares. So you have to do one more step here. So this one you repeat A squared plus B squared. Just repeat this one. But you see the second part here. It's a difference of two squares. So it will be another two brackets for that. So this is A squared minus B squared. It will become square root of A squared A, square root of B squared B. See, from there till here is another difference of two squares. So that will be plus and that will be minus. So be careful. Some examples will factorize and factorize again. And let's see, we got the last one to do, 2.9. Alright, I'll just do it right on top. I don't want to squeeze it in the bottom. Alright, so we're going to take it a bit easy here now. You see, I better write the answer below it. So it'll give me enough space to explain it nicely. See, that's a perfect square, that's a perfect square. So that's going to be two brackets. Alright, square root of 9, 3. Square root of a to the 4, A squared. Now you got B to the 6, so write down B. You take that index, B to the 6, and you divide that index by 2. So you're left with B cubed. So that's how we get B cubed here. You see? And that's plus. Repeat, 3A squared, B cubed, minus. So I'll go through this example again. Square root of 9 is 3. Square root of A to the 4 is A squared. Square root of B to the 6, write down B to the 6, divide the index by 2, you end up with B cubed. Write down B cubed. First bracket will be plus. Repeat, 3A squared and B cubed, and the second bracket will be minus. Now, although there's a minus sign here and there's a A squared here, this is not a perfect square. That's not a perfect square. So that's why we stop here, and that's the end for 2.9. Alright, so that's the end of lesson 2, and you should see how you're feeling about difference of two squares. Strictly speaking, you should learn difference of two squares on one day and come back to learn the next section the next day. Or learn this early in the morning and come back in the afternoon to learn a new section. Alright, so we move on to lesson 3 shortly. Hello, welcome back. Sunny Bornani. Right, we're on lesson 3 now, and the type of factorization we're doing is called sum and difference of two cubes. So first, let's see. The word sum means you're going to see a plus sign. Difference, oh sorry, this pen has to be pensioned off. Right. Difference means you're going to see a minus sign. Now cubes, let's explain what are cubes. Well, let's see if we can give you some cubes. Well, 1 is a cube, the next cube is 8, the next cube is 27, the next cube is 64, next cube is 125. Now let's see, and so on. Now what do we mean by cube? You see, 1 is equal to 1 times 1 times 1. So 1 is a perfect cube. 8 is 2 times 2 times 2. So 8 is a perfect cube. And to explain it another way, if I find the cube root of 1, I'll get exactly 1. If I find the cube root of 8, I'll get exactly 2. Now use the calculator to help you. Some calculators got a cube root sign, so you just say cube root of 8 and you'll get your 2. Some calculators don't have the cube root sign. Well, you study your scientific calculator and see how you're going to solve that problem. Right. Now, there are other things also. M cubed is a cube, M6 is a cube, etc. So letters can be cubes too. Now if you're finding the cube root of m cubed, then all you do is you take the index 3 and you divide it by 3. So you get m to the 1. If you find the cube root of m to the 6, you write down m to the 6 and you divide by 3, you'll end up with m squared. That's supposed to be a small 3 on top there. So in other words, what we're saying is for cube root divide index by 3. If you remember, when we were doing squares, for square roots of powers, we said divide by 2. For cube root, divide by 3. Alright, so you've got to be clear in your mind on what is a cube and how you find cube roots of numbers and how you find cube roots of powers. I think we're quite clear about that, and once we've got this clear in our mind, we can do some examples. Alright, so just focus your attention a little bit on this, and alright, let me just ask you a question then. What is the cube root of m to the 12? Right, I don't know what answer you was guessing, but you just write m, there's 12, you divide it by 3, and you get the answer m to the 4. So I hope you were thinking of m to the 4 in your mind. As long as you know this, we are ready to move with sum and difference of 2 cubes. Let's do another example. What is the cube root of x cubed? Well, the cube root of x cubed is x, because 3 divided by 3 gives you 1, and I don't have to write the 1 down, so I just say x. Cube root of x cubed is x, full stop. Cube root of y cubed is 1. Cube root of z cubed is z. I don't have to write the 1 down, it's not important, I just write z. Okay, once you know this, we can move. Right, I'm sure you're ready to roll, so let's roll. Alright, the first example we want to do is x cubed minus 27. So when we study this example, we see it's a cube, and that's a cube, and there's a minus sign, therefore this is a difference of 2 cubes. And when we want to factorize it, this is what we do. Now listen carefully. You open one small bracket, in other words you're going to write 2 terms here, and then you write another bigger bracket because you're going to write 3 terms there. Okay? So for starters, one small bracket, one big bracket. Right. Step 1. Find the cube root of x cubed. Cube root of x cubed is x. This is minus, so that will be minus. Find the cube root of 27. Cube root of 27 is 3. Once you got this bracket, this will help you to get the next bracket now. Now for the next bracket, there's 3 steps. Step 1, take this x and square it. In other words, you're taking the x and you squaring it. So you'll get x squared. Then multiply these 2. Minus 3 times x. You got minus 3x. But write it here with the opposite sign. So you'll write plus 3x. You write it with the opposite sign. So I'm going to write over here, change sign. So when you change the sign, minus 3x becomes plus 3x, and that's what you write over here. Okay? So multiply, you get minus 3x. Change the sign, it becomes plus 3x, and then you bring the plus 3x and write it here. And then finally, in the third step, you take minus 3, this minus 3 here, and you square it. Do that on a calculator, you'll get plus 9. So that is how you factorize a difference of two cubes. Now, if you go and do products on this, if you multiply this out, products, doing it step by step, you'll find that when you multiply this out, you will get x cubed minus 27. Alright, let's do another example. I'm just going to lower down here. Number 2. A cubed minus m cubed. A cubed minus m cubed. So there will be one small bracket and there will be one bigger bracket. Cube root of a cubed, a. Minus sign, you write minus. Cube root of m cubed, m. Once you got this first bracket, it will help you to get the second one. Step 1, square the a. So a squared will give you that. So you got a squared. Step 2, multiply a and minus m. So you got minus am. And then what? Change the sign. So what does this become? It becomes plus am. So you write plus am. And finally, square minus m. Minus m squared will give you plus m squared. So that is how we factorize that. Right, now let's look at example 3. Example 3, 1000 plus b cubed. Right, so one bracket small and one bracket little larger. Right, that's all my rough work. I don't need that. Okay. Cube root of 1000, 10. Plus here, so this will be plus. Cube root of b cubed, b. Now this bracket is going to help me to get that. Square 10. 10 squared will give you 100. Multiply this 2. If I multiply this 2, I'll get 10b. Then I must change its sign. So it will become minus 10b. And finally, square plus b plus b squared. So that is how we factorize sum and difference of two cubes. Fairly straightforward, just apply the rules and you get the answers. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to give you a little exercise and you can enjoy yourself doing these examples. Alright, so here's your exercise on difference of two cubes. 3.1, a cubed minus b cubed. 3.2, x cubed minus b cubed. 3.3, a cubed minus 27. 3.4, a cubed minus 1. 3.5, 8a cubed minus 125b cubed. 3.6, a cubed minus 0,125b cubed. 3.7, a cubed minus 1 over 8. 1/8 means 1 over 8. 3.8, a6 minus b6. 3.9, 1000 a6 minus b6. Alright, I hope you got all that. Now we'll go on to more examples on sum of two cubes. 4.1 a cubed plus b cubed. 4.2 x cubed plus b cubed. 4.3 a cubed plus 27. 4.4 a cubed plus 1. 4.5 8a cubed plus 125b cubed. 4.6 a cubed plus 0,125b cubed. 4.7 a cubed plus 1 over 8. 4.8 a to the 6 plus b to the 6. And finally 4.9 1000 a to the 6 plus b to the 6. Right, so if you watch carefully, these questions are exactly the same questions from the top, but just that the top section has a minus sign and the bottom section has a plus sign. But the answers are going to be different, so be careful, try them out, and you'll have to stop the DVD here, go and try the examples and come back and we'll help you to mark them. Welcome back, here's your solutions. Now I'm not going to talk too much in this section because these are pretty straightforward. I'll only explain the first example and then I'll just write the answers for the rest. One small bracket, one big bracket. Cube root of a cubed, a. Cube root of b cubed, b. Starts with a minus, therefore that will be minus. Then this bracket going to give me that answer. Square the a squared. Multiply minus ab, change the sign, plus ab. Square minus b, that will give you plus b squared. 3.2 x cubed minus b cubed. X minus b into x squared plus xb plus b squared. Same method as 3.3 a cubed minus 27. One small bracket, one big bracket. Cube root of a cubed is a. Cube root of 27 is 3. Starts with a minus, therefore this will be minus. Now the second bracket. Square the a squared. Multiply this 2, minus 3a. Change the sign, plus 3a. Square minus 3, plus 9. 3.4 a cubed minus 1. Cube root of a is 1. Cube root of 1 is 1. Square the a, multiply the 2, minus a, but opposite sign, plus a. Square the 1, plus 1. 3.5 8a cubed minus 125 b cubed. Right. So we'll take this one a little easy now. Square root of 8, 2. Square root of a cubed, a. Sorry, did I say square root? I mean cube root. Cube root of 8, 2. Cube root of a cubed, a. Cube root of 125, 5. Cube root of b cubed, b. Starts with minus, so this will be minus. Now here, you're going to write 2a squared. So if you take 2a and you square it, you will end up with 4a squared. So here you got 4a squared. Then you multiply this 2, you get minus 10ab, opposite sign, plus 10ab. And finally, you're going to square minus 5b. You're squaring minus 5b. Be careful. See how the bracket is written. So it's 25b squared. plus 25b squared. All right. 3.6 a cubed minus 0,125 b cubed. One small bracket and one bigger bracket. A minus, use your calculator, cube root of 0,125 is 0,5. Cube root of b cubed is b. Square the a squared. Multiply these two, you'll get 0,5 ab. This is minus, that will be plus. And then square 0,5b. So you're squaring 0,5b. So if you want to square 0,5, use your calculator and it will give you 0,25. So this is 0,25b squared. Right? So remember that on the other side is just my rough work. Okay, that's 3.6. Right. Well, just take that down, have a look at it, mark your work so far, and then I'll continue with more solutions for you. Right, once again, one small bracket, one big bracket, a minus cube root of 1 over 8. So in your calculator, you'll tell it cube root of 1 ABC 8. And you'll get 1R2, which is really half. So that's half. Or to put it another way, the cube root of 1 is 1. The cube root of 8 is 2. Therefore the answer is half. Right? Another way to get the answer is like this. Cube root of 1 over 8 is really the cube root of 1 over the cube root of 8. That's another way to get the answer. So what's the cube root of 1? 1. What's the cube root of 8? 2. So that's another way in case you don't have a calculator. Right. So square that. A squared, multiply, minus half a, change the sign, plus half a. Square half. Square half. Half times half is quarter. Half times half is quarter. 3.8. A6 minus B6. A6 minus B6. Right. One small bracket, one big bracket. So, cube root of a to the 6, divide the index by 3. You're left with a squared minus cube root of b cubed, b squared. Because divide the index by 3. Now what's here? You square a squared. If you square a squared, you get a to the 4. Multiply these two, you get minus a squared b squared. Change the sign, plus a squared b squared. Square that, you get plus b to the 4. Now watch carefully what's happening here. We got a squared minus b squared, which is a difference of 2 squares. So you got to factorize this front part now. This a squared minus b squared is a plus b into a minus b. And that one cannot be factorized, so you just write it down like that. Okay, and then finally the last one, 3.9. 1000 a to the 6 minus b to the 6 is equal to, well, one small bracket and one big bracket. Okay, cube root of 1000, 10. Cube root of a to the 6, a squared. Cube root of b to the 6, well, if it's minus here, it'll have minus there. B squared. Then square this one. You'll get 100 a to the 4. multiply this 2, you'll get 10a squared b squared. This is minus, so that will be plus, it will be the opposite. And then square b squared, so you'll get b to the 4. Now have a good look at the first bracket this time. Now you got 10a squared minus b squared. Now this one is not a difference of two squares because 10 is not a perfect square, so this one will remain just like that. Okay, well, I hope you did well here and you got them all right. Okay, shortly I'll give you the answers to the rest of the questions. Alright, once again, I won't explain all the examples, but I'll give you some explanations here and there. A cubed, cube root is A. B cubed, cube root of B cubed is B. If it's plus, then this will also start with plus. If this is plus, that will also start with plus. Now this gives you the answer there. Square that, A squared. Multiply this 2, AB. If this is plus, that will be minus. And then plus b squared, plus b times plus b will give you plus b squared. 4.2. X cubed plus b cubed. Just like that, x plus b into x squared minus xb plus b squared. 4.3. A cubed plus 27. So, one small bracket, one bigger bracket. Cube root of a cubed, a. If this is plus, then the first bracket will be plus. Cube root of 27, 3. Now this gives me that. Take this and square it, you get a squared. If this is plus, that will be minus. 3 times a, 3a. Square the 3 plus 9. Square the 3 means 3 times 3, you get 9. Right, let's roll. 4.4. A cubed plus 1. Well, that will give you a. This is plus, that will be plus. Cube root of 1 is 1. Square the a squared. If this is plus, that will be minus. A times 1 is a. And then square the 1. Well, 1 times 1 is 1. 4.5. 8a cubed plus 125b cubed is equal to. Right, we will do this slowly. So, the square root, the cube root of 8. Cube root of 8 is 2. Cube root of a cubed, a. If this is plus, then that will be plus. Cube root of 125 is 5. Cube root of b cubed is b. Once we got this, it will help us to get that. In the second bracket, square 2a. Square 2a means 2a times 2a, and that gives you 4a squared. So that's how we get 4a squared. If this is plus, that's minus. 2a times 5a will give you 10ab. And finally square the last term, that's 5b. You're squaring it, which really means 5b times 5b, which is actually 25b squared. So plus 25b squared. Okay, so let's roll. 2.6. Sorry, 4.6. A cubed plus 0,125 b cubed. So that will be a plus 0,5 b. That will be a squared minus 0,5 AB. See, that times that. And then finally square 0, 5b. If you square 0, 5b, you will get 0, 25b squared. 4.7. 4.7 a cubed plus 1 over 8. Well, one bracket here and another one there. A, this will be plus because it's plus. Cube root of 1 is 1. Cube root of 8 is 2. So we can get the answer without a calculator. Then square the a squared. If this is plus, that will be minus. A times half is half a. And then square the half. Square the half means half times half, which is quarter plus quarter. 4.8 A6 plus B6. Right. That will give you a squared. Cube root of a to the 6, a squared plus b squared. Square that, you get a to the 4. If this is plus, that is minus. Multiply this to a squared, b squared. Square the b squared plus b to the 4. Watch carefully. This is a squared plus b squared. This is a sum of two squares. This cannot be factorized. Therefore, that is the final answer. And finally, 4.9 1000 a to the 6 plus b to the 6. Well, there's your first bracket and there's your second bracket. Cube root of 1000, 10. Cube root of a to the 6, a squared. If this is plus, that will be plus. Cube root of b to the 6, b squared. Now, square that, you get 100a squared. If this is plus, that will be minus. That times that, 10a squared, b squared. And finally, square the last one, that will be plus b to the 4. Alright, so those were your answers for 4.1 to 4.9. And I hope you got them right. And that brings us to the end of sum and difference of two cubes. Okay, so just be careful, there's a plus sign here, alright? So it's a plus sign over here. Right, so that's the end of sum and difference of two cubes. Right, the quadratic trinomial. Firstly, let's see what is a trinomial. If I just tell you a plus b plus c, then that's an ordinary trinomial. But a quadratic trinomial an example of a quadratic trinomial is like this: x squared plus 5x plus 6. Now what is special about this? Well, you can see firstly it is a trinomial with x's in it. And secondly, you can see the index is going from 2 to 1. Another example of a quadratic trinomial would be like this: 5 plus 6x plus x squared. Sometimes it is written like that in reverse. But it is still a quadratic trinomial. You got x squared plus 6x plus 5. Sometimes it's written like that. Now, it can be any letter. It can be m squared plus 10m plus 21. Number 4. It can be any letter. It can be c squared minus 7c minus 30. So all these are examples of quadratic trinomials, and we're going to learn how to factorize them. Alright, so we're quite clear about what is quadratic trinomial. Now if you want to factorize them, advice is always set it like this: x squared, x and number. If you're given an example like this, it's far better to set it like that and then work it out. Alright, so once we're clear about what a quadratic trinomial is, we can proceed. Suppose we told you factorize x squared plus 7x plus 6. Right? So that was a question given to you. So what you do, you write the question down, right? Let's say question 1, x squared plus 7x plus 6. Now part of this thing got steps that you can follow, and the other part is guess and check. So let's see which part has got steps in it. Right, let's get that out of the way. Good. You look here and you look here. So when you look at x squared, you ask yourself, what times what gives you x squared? Well, x times x gives me x squared. Then you look at 6 and you ask yourself, what times what gives you 6? Well, it could be 3 times 2 or 6 times 1. Now you see, in this example everything is positive. Therefore, I only have to worry about only positive numbers. But the moment there's a minus sign inside here, then I must even worry about minus numbers. So I'm just going to write it, although I don't need it. You know, minus 3 times minus 2 also gives you plus 6. Minus 6 times minus 1 also gives you plus 6. So now you're going to learn to think about the positive numbers and also the negative numbers. Alright, so once you got that there, then what you do, you say, right, there's going to be 2 brackets, right? Then you take that x and you write it in the front of each bracket, okay? Now what you do, you now look at the middle layer, 7x, and you ask yourself, which pair from here, when added, will give me 7? I'll repeat. Look in the middle, then look there and ask, which pair from there, when added, will give me 7? So it's obvious that this one here, when you add it, 6 plus 1 is going to give you 7. So that's the pair is going to solve my problem. So I'll write x plus 6, x plus 1. So that's factorized now. Now, how do you know it's the right answer? Well, you can test, you see. You do products on this. If you do products on this, we're just going to do it mentally. X times x gives you x squared. Then 6 times x gives you 6x. X times 1 gives you 1x. Add them up, you get 7x. So is the middle term correct? Yes. And finally, your last test, 6 times 1 is 6. So you've got to test 3 times. Okay? Let's do another example. Suppose the example is x squared minus 5x minus 14. Now you've got to be careful. Now we've got a minus sign here, but doesn't matter, right? We know it's going to be 2 brackets. Then we ask ourselves, right, what times what gives us x squared? Well, x times x. So in other words, in the beginning, we look here, then we look at minus 14. What times what will give us minus 14? Well, minus 14 times 1 will give us minus 14. 14 times minus 1 will give you 14, minus 14. Then minus 7 times 2. Then 7 times minus 2. So there's many choices here. That's going to give you minus 14. Again, once you've done that, you look in the middle. You're looking for minus 5. Which two numbers, if you add here, will give you minus 5? Which two, if you add there, will give you minus 5? That will give you minus 13. You see, if you're going to add them, that will give you minus 13. That will give you plus 13. That will give you minus 5. Oh, so it's this one. So that's my choice. So, in the front of the brackets, you write x and x. And then one bracket, you put minus 7. The other bracket, you put plus 2. And then when you test this out, if you do products step by step, if you go and do products on this, you will see that you will get that answer over there. Alright, so those were two examples. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to ask you to try some examples. What I'll do, I'll just do one extra, I'll just do a bonus example. Let's do another bonus example. Suppose I had x squared minus 7x minus 30. Suppose I had that. So, if I had that question, so there will be two brackets. Then I'll ask myself, well, x times x gives me x squared. What times what will give me minus 30? Well, minus 30 times 1, 30 times minus 1, minus 6 times 5, 6 times minus 5, minus 10 times 3, and 10 times minus. I've got a lot of choices. That's going to give me minus 30. Again, I ask the question, which two, when added, will give me minus 7? Which two? If I add this 2, I'll get minus 29. If I add this 2, I'll get plus 29. If I add this, I'll get minus 1. If I add that, I'll get plus 1. If I add that, I get minus 7. Yes, that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for minus 7. So if I add this 2, I get minus 7. You see, if you add them up. So there's your x and there's your x. Minus 10 here and plus 3 here. Now remember, I'm doing the most basics of quadratic trinomials. Once again, if you test this, by doing products step by step, you will get that. Alright? So this is the most basics of quadratic trinomials, and then once you can do the most basics, we'll take you one step further. Now remember, when you're learning these examples, even before you do the exercise, you must make sure that you work out the examples themselves. You must redo the examples as an exercise also. So let me give you one more example. So this will actually be number 4. You see, I had done 3 before. I'll do one more now. Suppose I gave you this one, 2x squared plus 9x plus 10. It's slightly different from the others. Now what you'll do, you'll say, right, let's see now. 2x times x. 2x times x gives me 2x squared. So I finish look here. Then I look at the 10. I look at the 10. So 10 times 1 will give me 10, or 5 times 2 will give me 10. I don't have to worry about negatives because everything is positive here. Everything is positive. So I don't have to worry about negatives. Right. Then I ask myself, now, it's not as easy as 1, 2, 3. Now this one is a little more challenging. So there's my 2x, and there's the x. Now I don't know which one is going to give me the right answer. I don't know. So what I do, I take the 10 and the 1 and I write it down here. And then I multiply like this. X times 10 is 10x. Then I multiply. 2x times 1 is 2x. And then I add them up. And what do I get? 12x. When I look in the middle here, do I have 12x? I don't have it. Therefore, this was a wrong choice. So this was a wrong choice. So I go and choose again 2x and x. And I choose 5 and 2. Then I multiply x times 5, 5x. 2x times 2, 4x. Then I take this 2 and add it. And I get 9x. And now I'm happy because this is the right choice. Now listen carefully what happens. This top 2 goes in one bracket. The bottom 2 goes in one bracket. See, this top 2 will go in one bracket. This bottom 2 will go in one bracket. So there's your brackets. So on the top I got 2x plus 5. 2x plus 5. In the bottom I got x plus 2. Alright? So this is a slightly more challenging example. And you get other examples that are more challenging. Right? And then there are some quadratics that won't factorize. I'll tell you about that a little later. For the moment, all the examples we'll give you will factorize. So just concentrate on that for the moment. Alright, so you have 4 examples now. I will give you a little exercise for you to try. Okay. Right, sit back and relax and I'll give you the exercise. Alright, so here are your examples. Exercise on quadratic trinomials 5.1. X squared plus 7x plus 6. 5.2. X squared plus 5x plus 6. 5.3. X squared minus 5x plus 6. 5.4. X squared minus 7x plus 6. Now the x is missing here. Let me just fill it in. Right, where is my wonderful pen? Just give me a minute. Just be careful, alright? There's an x over here. So 5.4 is really x squared minus 7x plus 6. Right. 5.5, x squared minus 5x minus 6. 5.6, x squared minus x minus 6. 5.7, 2x squared plus 11x plus 12. 5.8, 6x squared plus 23x plus 21. And finally 5.9, x squared plus 7xy plus 10y squared. Alright, you can try them and let's see what you make of it. Okay, so stop the DVD here, try the exercise and come back and then we will take you step by step to show you how it's done. Alright, the first one, x squared plus 7x plus 6. Well, you tried whatever you tried and the actual answer is, you see, you wrote x and then you tried 6 and 1. So it's x plus 6, x plus 1, and when you test that, you get your answer. 5.2, x squared plus 5x plus 6. Right, so I'll do this one in detail. Now, for this one, you tried x, and then you said 6 and 1, or 3 and 2, because 6